Hello. You don't know who I am, but on today's Pick 6, we're going to go over 6 scary and spooky games. Let's get into it. So these upcoming 6 games are ones that throughout my gaming life I have found to be nice and spooky, or maybe a little unsettling. They definitely gave me a fright at the time. So, anyways, without further ado, let's get to them. So, in at pick number 1, I bring you Alien 3 for the Genesis. Doesn't matter what you think about the movie, Alien 3 was a wonderful game. This was spooky. Yeah, this was very intense. This was suspenseful. You had tight corridors you're crawling through. You had xenomorphs and facehuggers coming out at you all over the place. You had limited ammunition, limited health, of course, as you try and find other pickups to keep yourself rolling and going forward as you look to find a bunch of the captured prisoners from the prison colony, the prison planet that Alien 3 takes place on. He plays Ripley trying to save everybody. We could almost do a whole series on just the Alien games themselves because they're all can be very spooky, for better or for worse. You also have a timer that you're working against for each level. For pick number 2, I have one of my favorite games here. It was unfortunately short-lived. There aren't too many of them out there, but we've got Parasite Eve. Oh my gosh, this game for survival horror style of games, as in, the Resident Evil and the Silent Hills and the Dino Crisis, and things like that. Parasite Eve was such a welcome new franchise to get into. Parasite Eve 1 and 2 are 2 of my all-time favorite games. As it's time to bring back Parasite Eve with a true sequel for Parasite Eve 3, or maybe even a remake for Parasite Eve 1 here. The combat in this game was so fun. The atmosphere was, very dark, very brooding, very crazy what's going on. And then, of course, the payoff at the very end, when you're done with the game, and you open up the big, was it called the Chrysler Building? 99 floors, so you got 99 levels of just other crazy things to do, so you can just keep going and keep playing this as you could view that as somewhat of as a new game plus. Parasite Eve, if you haven't played it and you have a PlayStation or the ability to play PlayStation 1 games, definitely get this one. Great scary story, good spooks, good suspense. With pick number 3, I want to take us back into the past. Even though I'm showing you one of the newer games, we're going back to XCOM UFO Defense. The original XCOM. I don't know what it was, 286, 486. Yeah, for those of you who played this back in the day, or maybe even played it recently, I'm sure you know what I'm going to talk about with the scary part of this game. In today's XCOM, like what I'm showing up here, we're pretty blessed. We have it pretty easy when the mission starts. You're plopped right down onto the battlefield, into the map, so you can start moving out. In UFO Defense, the Sky Ranger would touch down, and that's where you would start the game. And that's where you would start the level, inside the Sky Ranger, where you need to exit. And that was the horror of it. That was the scary part, was as you had to spend your turns getting people out of the Sky Ranger, down the ramp, and either to cover or to around the other side of it, and you did not know where that alien was sitting on the outside, waiting for you to come off there. And you would send guys out, and they would come out, and they would get picked off constantly. And it was horrific. Going back to play just one simple mission from the original XCOM here brings back a lot of pain. How I would set my squads up was I would put the newest guys in front, the first ones out, right? Because they're the first ones that are going to get shot at, maybe the first ones that get killed. but then I know that alien enemy isn't going to shoot again. That one isn't going to shoot again. And then hopefully the other guys can all rush out and hide somewhere around the Sky Ranger and then start going to other places to try and hide. Talk about nerve-wracking. The beginning of these missions for UFO defense were all just so brutal. Here you go. Try the original XCOM UFO defense. Okay, and in at our pick number 4, I bring Doom to the table. Or actually to the video, right? Doom. What a great time to be a part of the gaming community when Doom first came out. I mean, that was something extraordinary. That was, we had seen a little bit of the first-person shooter type stuff and just start to emerge with Wolfenstein. We had fun with that, and then all of a sudden, here comes Doom. And this was on a whole nother level with the blood and the gore and the guts and the huge levels, the crazy variety of weapons, the awesome soundtrack, such a great soundtrack, the awesome gameplay, fast gameplay, and just spinning and running and just being scared to death because you don't know what's behind this door, you don't know what's behind that wall, because there were so many secrets to find. And now, luckily, Doom is still continuing on, still creating great and exciting and engaging games that are also still just as scary, just as intense, just as heart-racing, get you going. This, boy, back in the day when I was playing this, I remember just turning out the lights, turning up the stereo sound, because this is one of the first games I got to play with actual stereo sound from my Sound Blaster. The cheaper end of the Sound Blasters, but it was still an authentic Sound Blaster. And oh yeah, just great memories. Yes, again, Doom. Available on anything and everything. As you see all the memes, can Doom run on this? Or look, I got Doom to run on this and to run on that. It's on my refrigerator. It's on my washing machine. It's on my smartwatch. It's in my Google glasses. Doom. At pick number 5, you know we were going there. You know we we're going to pick one of these from the series. Here we are with Resident Evil 4. You can pick almost any Resident Evil for its spooky atmosphere, its suspense building, and its intensity. And Resident Evil 4 is one of the best. And I had to include it because it is so creepy. And especially those first few minutes in the village, or maybe it's the first half hour within the village as you try and figure out what is going on. And one of my favorite versions of Resident Evil 4 was, as I'm showing here, the Wii version. I really enjoyed the Wii controls for it. I thought it was a great way to get yourself even further immersed into the game, and it allowed me many times to jump up and to move around and to flail about all wildly as I'm trying to slash a knife at somebody. Someday we'll have to visit the whole Resident Evil franchise and look at each one and talk about it, because there's some good things and there's some crazy things and there's some things that went off into a completely different field. But when you got a franchise that's that popular and that successful, I think you can kind of do some of those things. Of course, one of the very best parts of all Resident Evil games are when you first start the game up and you hear that beautiful voice come on and just tell you Resident Evil, and then tell you what it is. Resident Evil 4. Awesome, scary game. Coming in at pick number 6 is one that maybe it's not quite a fair pick, but it is one of the scariest experiences that I've had, and that is PT. Now, it's no longer available. It got pulled from the PlayStation Store several years ago, but I was lucky enough to grab it when it first came out and then just get ready for a great ride, turn out the lights, get the game started, and then get scared. I never wanted to walk down that hallway. I never wanted to turn around and walk back. I definitely didn't want to go into that bathroom when that door opened all by itself. As you just kept circling this, oh my gosh, this is thing is freaking scary. Man, that first experience of trying to go through it, just trying to figure something out. And, you know, after about 20 or 30 minutes, just noping out for a while, and then coming back the next night to try something a little bit more, and then come back to the next night to try a little bit more, before it's all like, you know what, this is pretty intense, and it's really got me. It actually would be better to sit down, watch somebody else play it, and see what they do and how freaked out they get. And if they just do what I did and just end up in a corner and just sitting there going like, okay, no, this is it, it's good. I'm gonna just stay right here and be okay. Yeah. PT, I know it's not available for anybody anymore. Okay, try and find somebody who's got it so you can experience this as well. All right, those are my 6 scary games to help celebrate the season. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below some of the scary games that you've experienced or have played, or maybe you partaked in some of these as well and you understood a little bit about where I was coming from. That's one thing that's great about some games. Scary games that can get you a good emotional reaction, a good physical reaction, and a good mental reaction. It really help just solidify how fun they are and enjoyable the gaming experience can be. All right, again, I want to say thank you for watching this video, and as always, game on.